Hello. I am going to let you know right now this is a different episode than usual. The guest is someone from Ukraine who has escaped what's been going on there. She is Veronika Didusenko, and she really has run for her life at this point, and she's right now taking time away from her normal career to be an advocate and activist for her country, for the sovereignty of her country, for the people there, to save lives of people fleeing and to save lives of people there. And so if anything is more than work, certainly your country being at war is more than work. I had an encounter today with someone, my house cleaner, who I've known for months, who arrived at my home. I asked her how her family was because they live in one of the countries that's taking in refugees. And she told me that they have helped people, but she also is aligned with Putin. The conversation went on. I won't get into many details, but I asked her several times to please stop talking about this, that we didn't agree, and that I just really didn't appreciate it in my home. And eventually I asked her to leave, and I just didn't get my house cleaned, and I also just rejected her service. And I've never done something like that. She's actually came with anti-vax views and other controversial COVID views, in my opinion, before, but I had always tried to respect her as a person, and she was always nice otherwise, and I just couldn't do it. I don't find there to be any negotiation around what's going on right now in Ukraine. I'm really grateful that Veronika took the time to talk to me, and she just wanted to share and wants to make sure people know how they can help, and she shared her story of leaving. The sound might be a little bit bad at places. We had some trouble with the recording because of where she was located, and that's just to be expected at this point. I think it will be fine, but just so you know, the conversation may seem a little bit choppy here and there because of that. I really appreciate you listening. I will have a regular episode out next week. We didn't go through the Fun 5 or do any of the FAF because this is really just about what she's doing now, being an activist and advocate for her people. So I hope that you will share this episode. I think it's important people hear it, and that you will find an action you can take coming out of it. This is dedicated to the people of Ukraine and the fight they're doing for their democracy and for people's lives. A lot of lives have been lost already, and a lot of people have been hurt. So thank you for listening. This is More Than Work, the podcast reminding you that your self-worth is made up of more than your job title. Each week, I'll talk to a guest about how they discovered that for themselves. You'll hear about what they did, what they're doing, and who they are. I'm your host, Rabia. I work in IT, perform stand-up comedy, write, volunteer, and, of course, podcast. Thank you for listening. Here we go. Hey, everyone. So I'm going to make this quick at the start. My guest is someone that I went to school with in the Harvard Kennedy Public Leadership Credential Program, and we're reuniting now. Her name is Veronika Didusenko. She was Miss Ukraine in 2018. She's since then become an activist for the Right to Be a Mother campaign. And now, as she's from Ukraine, everyone knows what's going on. And so she's talking with me today. Hey, Veronika, it's good to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
So, Veronika, where am I talking to you from right now?
So I'm in Los Angeles. I just had a press conference with Gloria Allred about the situation in Ukraine, about the invasion of Russia to Ukraine, and how women and children are suffering when they are living, and about the policies which U.S. should apply to make maybe some kind of visas or some kind of statuses for modern states to be able to enter the United States.
Yeah. And you actually got to LA in the past week because you were in Ukraine when the attack started, right?
Yeah. So when the invasion started, it was 24th of February. It was 5 a.m. I just packed my bags and I was awakened by the siren of the rocket. So literally, like, Russians started bombing Kiev. And yeah, I packed myself, my son, my pets, and I took my car and I then drove with the western the border of Ukraine, trying to escape it. So when we were leaving, we saw like Russian helicopters, literally 50 of Russian helicopters, which were flying to bomb airfield. It was a long journey. It was like big traffic jams in the way to border. We drove like 11 hours, like 200 kilometers. It was the whole day. And we went to one of the cities, which is a little bit more western from like the capital of Kiev, where I'm living. Then we had the spent nights here, and then we went to the border with Moldova. Of course, the border in Moldova, but Moldova also they have a closed air. We don't have any air flights because we are afraid of the war. And I had to go to Romania, and we took flight from Romania to Luxembourg to see some of my friends. They big Alpa, they cost us. And then I figured out that I had to go to the press conference in Los Angeles, but the U.S. embassy didn't issue visa for us. And right now I really want like President Biden and U.S. government to do special policies and special conditions that Ukrainians can cross the United States border and can have some kind of status over there, because it is so important for millions of people who are trying to escape war at the moment. And I had to leave my son in Switzerland with my friends, which he basically knows, so he is good. But still thinking I couldn't take him with me.
So right now you're without your son.
Devastation.
Because he couldn't get into the country, basically.
Yeah, yes. So yes, basically for like few days, and then it's because I'm gonna be back to Switzerland to get my son.
Right. But it's just interesting to me because I know everyone's talking about this, of course, and everyone's talking about in Europe all the people are refugees, but in the US we have a bad track record with refugees anyway, obviously. But the fact is now this is something that I think people do need to support. So at your press conference, you basically what do you want people to do, I guess, like people who might be listening who want to do something and they're donating money, but they want to do something else. What do you want them to do?
Yeah, perfect. If they donate money to the Ukrainian military forces, it was so good. If they can help with humanitarian resources, I don't know, some clothes, food, supplies, it's going to be so good for Ukrainians who are sitting there, for refugees, if you can host a person from Ukraine, because she could be like no mother with kids, they have no home, they have like no money, they have nothing. So if you can help them sometimes, or I don't know, take care of them, it just be wondrous. The work is really good. Of course, from government, like Ukraine needs like ammunition, weapons, really needs NATO to close the skies so that not so many civilians are dying in this war. Because since the beginning of the war, around like 3,000 Ukrainian civilians, including like 100 of kids, have died. Can you imagine? 3,000 innocent people, and 800 kids were injured from the bombing and from the shooting. 800 kids. All of the hospitals, all of the schools, all of the universities, museums, everything was destroyed. And now people are just living in their shelters. And some of the cities, they have no food and no water in the shelter. So which is today, a child died because of dehydration. Can you imagine? While he was in shelter. Can you imagine this is 21st century? This Russian invasion is so violent. They don't even care about people's lives. How can they don't agree on the green corridors and humanitarian corridors with people who live occupied cities?
So Veronika, as far as just how your family's doing and just being away, how is that, and how are you keeping in touch with them? Are you even able to?
Yeah, so I am able, but when they are in shelter, there is no signal, so they cannot really reply. And when it's siren, they need to go to shelter. So it is tricky, I'm really afraid for their lives, because it's a big threat for their lives. And no one knows what will happen, and if the bomb gonna explode near their house. But my mom and my dad, my grandmother, they don't want to leave Ukraine. So generally say it's 2 million people left Ukraine. It's almost the kids with parents, but other almost 38 million, they stayed. They stayed in Ukraine to protect their land, to protect their freedom and dignity, to protect the democracy of Ukraine. So people are very brave and united at the moment there.
Yeah.
And my mom said she's going to go to volunteer in the hospital
Wow.
to help. So yeah, but it is a big risk. It's huge risk, enormous risk, and as I say, like every day I get messages like someone died, dead, and someone's friends, or it's horrifying.
Mhm.
It's devastating.
It is, and it's just, and you've been someone who's been active as an activist for a while now, but this is such a different thing than what you've been doing, really.
Yeah, I never thought I would go through the war. Like in 2022, like such a terror is happening to the largest European country, to the democratic country. Such a terror is happening. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. But Putin made that stop like in Ukraine. And the next country can be like Moldova or Poland or Lithuania. So just it's not sure if we can ever stop. So now we need the whole world to be united, the European Union, the United Kingdom, United States, to show support to the Ukraine, to send weapons and ammunition, to be very supportive to the Ukraine can resist and can win this war. Because Ukrainians are dying for their democracy, for their freedom, because their lives to have independence, democratic country, Like it's huge.
And so I guess, for people who are listening to take away, I mean, it's good to donate to the army or to the Ukrainian armed forces.
Perfect.
And then should we be contacting our government and asking them to let people in? I think the UK is probably similar to the US too, where I am at, where it's not easy for people to get in.
Yes, it's not easy. It's definitely contact the government as soon as they have lots of requests. They can respond sooner, but still they are doing this work, but it's slow. So the situation right now is urgent. It's important, and actions must be taken now. Because refugees from Ukraine, they cannot. Maybe they have some relatives in the United States, and they cannot enter. So they have nowhere to live. They have nowhere to take care of them. And what is more, those refugees are only women and children. So women and children, and they have no homes, no money, no protection, nothing, and they cannot even enter other countries. Maybe they have one of my best friends in Kiev. She's pregnant now, and she has her visa expired, and she has son, so she's pregnant with her second child, and she has nowhere to go because she cannot enter the US because of the visa where her grandparents live, and she's homeless, and she's staying in the war in Ukraine. Can you imagine? So how US and UK ignore such a big issue? It's a question of to discuss at the moment and now. It's urgent. If the European Union did so, the UK and US must act.
Yeah, and it's something that they're capable of doing. And if you have relatives already, then why can't you go? Yeah,
exactly. Because people are who are. Of course, they are escaping from the war, and there are people who are happy to house them. But can you imagine if they don't have that? If people, what they should do? They should live on streets, or I don't know. It's just
Well, and the fact is, the people leaving their homes, they don't know what they'll go back to. You don't know what.
Yeah, you don't. Yes, exactly. You don't know if you're going to be back, when you're going to be back. And what is more, what they have with them in their documents, maybe some little bit of cash, and that's it. They don't have too much clothes, nothing on them. They were escaping before. Just a few days ago, I came to the US, and I asked a person for a toothbrush or something. I said, oh, really? You don't have your toothbrush on you? But we know when people are traveling, they have their toothbrushes. Oh, let's. I was escaping from the war. The bomb. Are you serious? They are thinking of being alive and to save their lives, to save the life of their children, and to put them in a safe and sweet place. If you see someone or if you know someone who needs help, please do so, because it's such a tough time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. So, Veronika, is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap up, and just that you want people to know about?
You can help with the people who are trying to escape Ukraine and save their lives. So with clothes, or maybe you can punch them, or take care of them. The people who are struggling and they have really tough time. I don't know if you can maybe some clothes, maybe some food, and it would be very helpful for all of the refugees.
Okay, well, that's good.
And of course, visas for entering UK and overseas.
Yeah, I agree. And so this is really helpful to know, and it'll be helpful for people to hear. So thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today. And we'll do an interview about your, everything else eventually, and what you do otherwise. Sure. But thanks so much.
Thank you so much. It was good to see you. Yeah.
You too. Thanks for listening. You can learn more about the guest and what was talked about in the show notes. Joe Maffia created the music you're listening to. You can find him on Spotify at Joe, Maffia. Rob Metke does all the design, for which I am so grateful. You can find him online by searching Rob, Metke. Please leave a review if you like the show, and get in touch if you have feedback or guest ideas. The pod is on all the social channels at More Than Work Pod, or at Rabia Comedy on TikTok, and the website is morethanworkpod.com. While being kind to others, don't forget to be kind to yourself.